Hi, welcome back to economics. And just last week, we learned from the previous chapter the basic concepts and principles behind economics. So we have discussed scarcity. We also have discussed the needs and the wants, the factors of production, economic systems and basic economic questions, scope of economics, and models and theories. In this chapter, we will introduce one of economics' main branches, the microeconomics. And we will begin by studying the basic principles of the demand and supply and the theory of demand and supply in a competitive market. So what is a market? Market is this is where the buyer and the sellers meet to exchange goods and services. So any place, um, even if it's or it can be a physical place or not physically available, as long as there is an exchange of goods and services between the buyers and the sellers. That's what we call market. Okay, so we will focus on the demand first, the law of demand. So in theory, ang perfectly competitive market daw has a there should be a lot of buyers and a lot of sellers. So meaning daghan gyud dapat ang perfectly kuan ha competitive market, daghan gyud dapat buyers, daghan po dapat sellers. Okay, so um, there are many buyers and sellers so that none of them can influence a change in price or quantity of the products. So kung kinahanglan daghan siya so that walay mag-influence or walay makamonopolyo bitaw nga ako ray nagbalig yung isda so ako ray magbuot sa presyo. Ana siya ang competitive market. So, the demand curve and the demand schedule. So, quantity demanded is the amount of goods and services consumers are willing to purchase given a certain price. So, ang demand daw is the pila ka book ang atong willing paliton in a particular price. If the price of the good is low, the quantity demanded for that good is high. Kung 'di ba, kung barato, pwede gusto na to mo palit og daghan. Holding other factors constant that might affect the willingness of buyers to purchase the good. So atong keep in mind that the law of demand, we should hold other things constant. So dili sa nato hilabtan no, mag-focus lang sa ta sa price and the quantity. So again, if the price is low, the quantity demanded is high. If the price is high, the quantity demanded is low. So if you will notice here, we have a graph. So in our next uh, chapters, we will be constructing graphs to illustrate the theories. Okay, so when we are going to create a graph, this side here, the vertical line, this is where you are going to put the price. And this horizontal line is where you are going to put your quantity. So this is the price, this is the quantity. So if the price is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, quantity is 10, 20, 30, 40. And the graph of demand is going down or slope downwards. Okay, always downwards ang sloping niya. That's because naay inverse relationship ang price and ang quantity pag sa law of demand. And this is also what we call the demand schedule. Pag demand schedule gani, that is a table in a table form. So makita na to, this is the same with the graph, no? Gi-graph lang nato ni kinigi-table na to. This is point A, B, C, D, E. So makita ninyo, at point A, the price is 4, but the quantity demanded is 0. At point B, the price is 3, but the quantity demanded is 10. At point C, the price is 2, quantity demanded is 20. At point D, the price is 1, quantity demanded is 30. At point E, price is 0, meaning free, of course, quantity demanded is 40. So meaning, kung naa kay 40 ka bread, kung ibaligyan nimo na siya o ihatag nimo siya free, of course, mahurot gyud na siya. Maray nga na ba? If presyohan nimo piso kada isa, so pwede siyang dili mahurot, 30 ra ang mapalit, and so on and so forth. And this is the schedule, right? So this is now what we call the law of demand. If the price, as the price increases, the quantity demanded decreases. Okay? So, kabaliktaran pod, if the price decreases, pababa siya, the quantity demanded increases. Okay? So, there is an inverse relationship, meaning, dili sila magsabay. Ang isa pataas, ang isa pababa. That's the that's the law of demand. And in order for us to get the slope of the demand curve, we will use this formula here. The slope, which is the rise over run, or the change in y, di ba? Y-axis and x-axis. So the change in the y-axis, change in x-axis, or the change in price over the change in quantity, or simply that's price 2 minus price 1 over Q2 minus Q1. Q2 is quantity 2 and quantity 1. So this symbol here represents change. Okay, so P1 and Q1 stand for initial price and initial quantity of the product, and the P2 and Q2 are the final price and final quantity of the product. Okay, so that is how we are going to solve the slope. Now let's try. Given the figure, we're using the same figure. Given the figures in table 2.1, as an example, let us try to solve the slope of the demand for bread. So using points A and B, we get, so ang slope na to is, di ba, P2 minus P1 over Q2 minus Q1. So what is our P2? This is our P1, this is our P2, this is our Q1, and this is our Q2. So P2, 3 minus P1, 4 over Q2, which is 10, minus Q1, which is, oh, sorry guys, this should be 0. So it should be 0. 10 minus 0, and that is equals to what? Negative 1.10. So negative here represents the inverse relationship, ba? So there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity. Okay, so that is how we are going to get the slope of the demand. Always P2 minus P1 over Q2 minus Q1. Now, there are several things that affect. Di ba, giningon ta kanina that we have to hold other factors constant, but there are actually factors that can affect your demand for the particular product. So, quantity demanded is normally dictated by the changes in price. However, naapay laing factors nga pwedeng maka-change sa imong quantity demanded. There are cases that the demand curve shifts either to the right or to the left. So to the right, this is your demand curve. It can shift to the right or it can also shift to the left even if the price does not change. Okay? Because normally man gyud daw, price gyud ang makapa-change sa imong quantity demanded. But there are other factors that can change it even if dili mag-change ang price. So unsa man tong mga shifters nga gitawag na to, the things or the factors that can shift the demand even if price is constant. Number one, we have here the changes in the average income. Meaning, kung ikaw nagtrabaho, there's a change if nag-increase ang imong sweldo, then or nag-decrease ang imong sweldo, it can affect your quantity demanded. So your purchasing power or your ability to buy the goods will be affected because if the increase in imong price, there's a possibility that you will increase also your consumption. Like for example, 1 kilo of manok ra kada dati. Now, because you already have more purchasing power, pwede na ka mo palit og 2 kilos a week. no, 2 kilos a week nga manok. In reverse, kung ni-decrease ang imong sweldo, ngitahay na demote ka, kay sige kag absent, sige kag late, na demote ka, ni gamay imong sweldo. Therefore, imbis nga 1 kilo of chicken per week ang imong mapalit, pwede nimong that your tendency will be not to buy chicken anymore, or half kilo na lang per week ang imong paliton, and then you buy other gulay, etc., ginamos, buwad, mo na siya. So changes in the average income can shift your demand to the right or to the left, even if ang price sa chicken is constant. Another factor that shifts the demand is the changes in the size of population. So, pareho sa income, population size can also influence the demand. Ang population, pag may population growth, it means that there is an increase of the size of the market demand, and a decline in population means a decrease in demand. So, isa ka example ani is the pagdaghan sa mga number of families sa Metro Manila. So, since nidaghan ang number of families in Metro Manila, it results to greater demand for food, no? Mas daghan ang demand for food kay daghan man ang tao, daghan ang baba, daghan ang mukaon. Okay? So, even if the price wala nag-change, pero ni daghan, ni increase ang inyong demand. Or sa inyong balay mismo, kintahay ni abot imong mga lolo, lola, uncle, auntie na mo sa balay. So sa una, ang inyong dungagon sa pamahaw is 1 kilo of rice ra, kamura. But then nidaghan na mo, so therefore, ang sa pila man inyong dungagon, 3 ka kilo na para mo igo. So that's the change in the size of population. Dili lang na siya change in population kay daghay gipanganak, kundi daghan ang ah, para nang ni puyo sa inyo ni abot mo uncle auntie ana siya. So nag-move ang mga tao pwede pod. Okay? Or ang pinaka-example karon sa panahon sa COVID, daghay pasahero sa una nga walay COVID, so ang mga tricycle driver, daghan sila kita, di ba? So daghan ang manginahanglan og tricycle because daghan ang estudyante. But pag abot sa COVID, dili na kinahanglan ang tricycle because we are not allowed to go out. We cannot go out. Dili ta pwede makalakaw, dili ta pwede moadto sa eskwelahan. So therefore, wala na nang ginahanglan sa tricycle. So that's the change in the size of population. Right? Dili lang sa daghay gipanganak kundi na ay niabot nga daghan or na wa ang mga tao, no, na wa ang panginahanglan. The third shifter is the changes in the taste and preferences. So pag mingon tag change in the taste and preferences, katong di na ko ganahan ani, lahi na akong ganahan, right? Um, like for example, since nag-start ang COVID, ang atong demand for cellular phones and laptops has drastically increased, di ba? Na remember na ako in April, I tried to buy a laptop, walay laptop available, no? Even sa mall, walay laptop nga available because sa panahon sa COVID, gi-introduce ang work from home, gi-introduce ang synchronous schooling, asynchronous schooling. So meaning dili ta mo adto sa dili ta mo adto sa eskwelahan, di walay face to face. So we have to use cellular phones or smartphones and or laptops. So daghan kay ni palit mo nang na nitaas ang increase niya because na change ang preferences nato. Alright? Another shifter, the fourth one, is the changes in consumers' speculations. So ang pinaka-example po ani is the COVID-19. Right? So the speculation is that um, ang COVID-19, pag outbreak sa COVID-19, manginahanglan gyud ang daghang tao og vaccine, manginahanglan tag daghang mask, manginahanglan tag daghang face shield, right? So that can change even if wala nag-change ang price, even if wala ni barato ang mask or ni mahal ba siya, constant ra siya, but because there is an speculation nga kinahanglan nato na for the long run, so daghan kay na malit. Okay, so na-change ang demand for a particular product. Okay, so that's basically the law of demand. And again, the law of demand states that as the price goes up, the demand for the product goes down. If the price goes down, the demand for the product goes up. So there is an inverse relationship between the price and the the quantity demanded, but there are still things that can change the demand even if the price is constant. And those are the four that we discussed: change in the income, change in the population, changes in our taste and preferences, and also in the consumers' speculations. Right? So I hope that is clear. If you have any questions, you know where to post your questions.